Mine says it's setting up.
Okay, well, I'm seeing the button live on Facebook, so I'm going to go to the group and see if we are actually.
I think we are.
We are! Yay! Oh my god, this technology is going to kill us. Right. Yeah, we are live now. Hi, everyone. Hopefully someone will tune in. I am Antonina Mamzenko. This is Emma Collins. We are UK documentary family photographers. We started this group, in case you didn't know, trying to kind of just promote the idea of documentary family photography in the UK and Europe particularly. Yeah, we're live now. Hi, everyone. Hopefully someone will tune in. You have to switch me off. I am Antonina Mamzenko. This is Emma Collins. We are... Close the page.
I'm trying to close it. It keeps popping up on different parts of my screen. Like, go away!
This is so funny.
Got an echo chamber.
As you may know, we're also starting something called Real Life Photo Academy, which is going to launch in a couple of weeks' time. So we're really excited about that, and we'll let you know all about that. But today we decided to talk about something that we get asked a lot about. And there's lots of discussions in various groups. What makes an image lifestyle and what makes an image documentary? And does it matter? What's the difference? How can we get clients to not act for the camera? And all those questions related to that, we'll hope we can answer them. And feel free to jump in the comments on Facebook. I'll try and monitor that. Yeah, and we'll jump right in. And I'll be honest, because Emma and I were chatting yesterday about the academy and sort of sorting out a few details. And I said, I'm not sure we should do this live, because I'm like, it's a really big thing to talk about. And you, Emma, had this amazing, you went silent for a minute, and then you had this amazing theory that I'd like you to just talk through, please.
God, I have to try and remember what I said now. Why don't we record it?
I should have recorded you, yeah.
So I think I was talking about it as a spectrum, a family photography spectrum. Just like, I kind of was comparing it to like the autism spectrum for some reason. I don't know why. I think because there's a spectrum and everybody's on it somewhere. And that's what family photography is like for me. You've got, like, right at one end, you've got posed studio photography where people sit and have portraits, and right at the other end you've got extreme hardcore documentary where you don't touch anything and you just record what's happening. And then in between there's all sorts of nuances and differences. So you've got studio photography that's more free, like something like venture studios where you're mucking around within the studio. You've got people who call themselves lifestyle, but that, again, within that area, there's a whole spectrum from people who are like doing studio style portraits outside where people are posed, but the backdrop happens to be outside. And then people messing around and being free, or being directed, or being completely free outside and taking pictures, but an organised location and an organised time slot, maybe specifically chosen for the time of day and the weather. You've got people doing lifestyle at home where you've got people, the photographer directing which rooms you go into and using light and changing the situation by using curtains and things like that. You've got then you've got lifestyle at home where you're kind of semi-directing and waiting for things to happen, but you're still moving people around. And then you've got people who are freely documentary, and that can be inside or outside, and any length of session. And you can go in and out and back again. And so some documentary photographers might be more inclined to slightly change things if they want to, like, move a bit of furniture out of the way because they want to get somewhere, or close it, open a window, or turn a light off because they don't like mixed lighting, whatever it is. Or right up to the other end where you've got people who don't touch anything and just record what's going on, and none of it's wrong. It's just that there is a spectrum and everyone slots in somewhere, and it's where you want to want to be, and don't feel, I think that's an important thing, is don't feel like you're doing something wrong just because you turn a light switch off, or because the time of day has been organised in advance and you've decided on a location or an activity. It's all part of a spectrum, and even as documentary photographers, we have different lengths of session, which has a huge impact on how relaxed people are, and how natural they are, and how natural they can be, because if it's a shorter session, you haven't got as much time for people to relax. But equally, the mundane everyday things have to take a back seat if you've got a short session, because you're not really going to capture a great deal of interest if you've got an hour and you're just watching them get changed for bed and brush their teeth. That needs to be part of a longer format.
I would probably add, like with lifestyle, is that important thing to remember is the whole idea of lifestyle photography and family photography came from the commercial world, where they need everyone to be directed. You can't just, pay a photographer to hang out with a family for a day. Everything needs to be organized, directed, and everything needs to look like real life, but the polished version of real life. And that's how it started originally, and that's what it is. It's real life, but a polished version of it, which none of us actually live, but they do it because they need to sell us stuff.
Yeah, and it makes you want things because everything looks perfect. But then I think if you've chosen to be a documentary photographer, you kind of push that aside, and you want more real moments and real backdrops and real interactions, and not that polished version. And it does a huge, obviously makes a massive difference who the client is, and how even if you brief someone many times, some people still turn up and lifestyle your session, and they lifestyle it, or depending on, I think it makes a huge difference how many people are there, not so much the adults, but the younger members of the family. If you've got one baby, the focus is still very much on the parents and what they're doing, and that's never as vibrant as toddlers, children, a mix of children, dogs. The more participants you've got, the more chaos goes up exponentially.
Yeah.
If you add on another person or an animal, the curve starts going like that quite rapidly.
And I think also the parents, like the more children the parents have, like with the first baby, they usually, it's very different when it's your first child and you want everything to be perfect, don't you? Like when it's your first baby, unless you like total hippie from the start. But you do want everything to be perfect and look perfect. And that often is reflected when it's just the one baby session. And there's no helping that really, unless, I think you mentioned, like if there's a dog, at least there's like some level of chaos.
And I think if they come to you, I think people who have come to you and want their session in their home with a baby, they're already somewhere along the line, because they've not chosen to go to a studio and have a more posed setup. And if they've, they're not necessarily coming to you when the baby's 2 weeks old as well. So they're not that type of client. They're already part way along. But I think I often find with new parents, especially if it's just a baby without an oldest, we were already discounting old siblings, but if there's a dog, that really makes a difference. I've got loads where it's babies with the dog or cats or something, and they're climbing everywhere, and that does make a difference. Just because the more extra elements there are, the more distracted the parents are, because they're trying to manage different things.
Not so focused on,
whereas if there's a baby who's sleeping, the focus is very much on the parents, and they become self-conscious. And like you said as well, I think often you've got them and they're quite new from being married, and there's the whole wedding setup and the wedding photography and all of that beautifying, and they've prepared the nursery, and all that time's been invested in the baby, and everything's perfect. It wasn't when I did it, by the way. I didn't even have I think I even had a cot ready when we had my oldest. It was completely disorganized. But you know,
and they want to capture that, and they will
capture that. Yeah.
Look at us, like we're a perfect family almost.
And it's often not until you get another child and you've lived through it a little bit that you realise how quickly time goes, and you've forgotten all the I don't know what it's like to be a new parent. Stress, the leaking boobs, the nappies, the bottles in the washing up basket, but washing up bowl or drying rack, the big ugly toys, and and you forget all of those things. The absolute exhaustion and reality of that exhaustion.
And you kind of become sentimental, don't you? And then that's when you kind of that's when you're ready to kind of move along a little bit along the spectrum, aren't you?
Yeah.
So I think what we were talking about as well, that often I hear the advice that only shoot documentary. Like if a client comes to you and it's a lifestyle client, or you suspect it's a lifestyle client, just discount them completely and don't agree, don't take the job. And I strongly disagree, just precisely because that's an opportunity, that's a huge marketing opportunity for you to shoot the session. Put a little bit of like yes, do it in a lifestyle way, but put a little bit of documentary in there. Like there will be moments that you can record that are more honest of that family. And then next time, well, first of all, they'll probably like the real moments more. They just didn't know that when they were booking you. And then the next time they hire you, they're more ready to then progress. Like I've had a couple of years ago where it was kind of a mix of documentary and lifestyle session, where they traveled way far from their home. It wasn't their usual session. We went to like a pick your own farm because they wanted this, idea of the whole family picking fruit, have fun, all of that. I did throw in some more real photos of the kids crying and kind of more tense images. And then the next 2 years later, they booked me for a whole day in their life. And then since then, they're like, you just do whatever.
Yeah.
So that there is a progression there as well. And I've seen, because she hired me when she had the third child, this client. But I've seen their pictures from before, and they were like super lifestyle with other photographers, like babies in the park sitting on the tree stump and that sort of stuff, So
I was just telling you about one of my best clients. They've got their eldest daughter's coming up to 9. I think in December she's 9, and I've photographed them about 7 times now. They've now got 2 other children. They've got 3 kids. And back then was when I really was first working as a photographer, and I was doing what I thought at that time was all I knew was the sort of wrapped up babies, much more posed, even I had a bean bag and stuff, which have all been sold on eBay. Yep. But I've taken them with me. That's what they wanted at that time, and they are a very I love this family. They've gone through a lot. They're really, really great family. But I don't think they'll ever completely be comfortable with just everyday life. But I've pulled them all the way, and it's much, because one thing I think you can really judge how a session is going to be and how well you've briefed someone is if you turn up and they're all in really coordinated outfits. That's a giveaway that they still want an element of perfection to come across. And this family, like they've got the 2 older kids are girls, and they always have matching outfits. It's like, oh God, not again. But they're lovely and they're brilliant. And this I've just shot them recently, and it was great. It was part of a year-long shoot that I've done with them. I think it's the last session of the year, and they wanted it outside, which is fine because we've done some inside, some outside. It was somewhere they'd never been before, but they didn't have any particular place that they wanted to go to, so they were happy, and they went here, and it's like an old ruin, and they thought the girls might like it because they're really into Harry Potter, and it was brilliant because the girls have got a massive, especially the middle daughter. She's got huge imagination. They were running wild, and it was really lovely. But they were matching outfits.
Yeah.
So, but I didn't direct them at all. It was an organised place, organised time. It wasn't a particular special time of day in terms of light, because they've got a little boy who's, is more determined by his patterns. But the images still look a bit lifestyle-y. I wouldn't put them in my portfolio because girls are wearing the same outfit and they're all quite colour coordinated.
Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? Sometimes, like, and I certainly know with my clients sometimes, on my own person, it could be done documentary, but because it looks more polished than maybe you'd like to project, you don't necessarily want to put it into your portfolio or share it, because it will attract the clients who want things polished. So there's a fine line. And I think, shall we share some examples of, like, we were talking about, like, what breastfeeding images or like reading images, like some of them, especially I think when we're doing critiques, and also when I was judging a competition, I could see if it's like a documentary image, or either photographer suggested something, or the family decided we're going to do this for the camera. What you call like being lifestyled by a client. Shall I share some of mine first then?
Yeah, I think you've got a few comparison pictures, and I've done it slightly differently.
You can
Oh, do I need to stop?
No, don't stop being a host. Can you
say one participant can share at a time?
Is there?
Can you share?
No. That's annoying. At the bottom there's like a participant management thing, and you should be able to let me share.
Okay, multiple participants can share simultaneously.
Oh, yes. Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to open, I've threw a bunch of pictures together. Can you see?
Yeah. Oh, I can.
Yeah. So here's an example.
Everyone else can.
Say it again?
I assume that means other people can see if I can see.
Hopefully. Yeah. It's lagging a bit on Facebook, but it will come up, hopefully. Yeah, it's changing now. Brilliant. So this is an example of a lifestyle reading session, because obviously that's how you read with your twins every day, right? Yeah. So that's a lovely shoot, but I've never ever shared it because that's not what I want to shoot. But this is what it actually looks like, and every parent knows that. Well, like that when you read in bed mainly.
Can you pull them up so they're large? I don't know whether people can see it because it's like a little thumbnail.
Because I can see it large.
Ah.
I know why, because I'm sharing.
I can see it. It's in. Oh, are you sharing the?
I'm sharing the other window. So let me just.
Yeah, you are.
Then instead.
Yeah, that's it. It's large.
Cool.
Okay.
Oh, right.
So go back to the lifestyle ones first.
Lifestyle ones.
Yeah.
So there we go. So yeah, this is how you read with your twins. Clearly, every day in very beautiful clothes.
Yeah, it's like their parents are so hugely invested in what they're doing and the interaction to show that they interact with their kids, but it's actually not what happens in real life. You know, I've got a 17-year-old kid and a 14-year-old kid and a 9-year-old kid. We've never sat on the sofa together with our kids on our knees and read books with them, because that just doesn't happen.
And in fact, my son, who's 9, he refused. He's so used to bedtime reading. He refuses. The whole idea of him sitting on the sofa with me reading a book is like, what?
Yeah.
He doesn't do it. So, yeah. But then, like, this is what happens actually when you read with kids, or kids to you, or whatever. They grab a book, or you read at bedtime. Another example is with swings. So there is, I think, an age when parents stop pushing kids on the swing so much. So this age, I feel like it's still, that's what would happen. That's how mom would behave, pushing the daughter on a swing. And I love her with all that hair and all that.
But also the child's having eye contact with you, but the mum is concentrating on the swinging.
Yeah. But then this family, for example, like the kids are way too old for the parents to be doing that. Usually at this age, the kids will be abandoned. I mean, the color coordinated clothing is a dead giveaway, obviously. That's why.
The pink t-shirt.
I know. I mean, it was all kind of last minute change because it was like September and then it was really, really hot. So they had to scramble for clothes, but they've done well. Anyway, but I've shared some black and white pictures, but it's like that's not how at this age parents will behave with their kids. Kids will just be running off on the playground and the parents will be sitting on the bench drinking coffee, basically.
Yeah, and looking at their phones.
Yeah, looking at their phones, exactly.
And there's nothing wrong with that because we all do it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Don't feel guilty.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing, you know, people are so used to seeing these sort of perfected images that they think, oh my God, if people see me looking at my phone when my kids are playing, they're going to judge me.
No, they're not going to judge. Or there's another, like with the baby. Obviously, it's very exaggerated emotion, but that's what you would actually do with a baby on the swing because it's a baby.
Well, because there's a lot of mirroring at that age, isn't there, where you exaggerate your facial expressions because kids mirror you. So there is a lot more of that. And although it's kind of an exaggerated artificial expression as an adult, it's not when you've got little kids. That is how you behave.
But it is.
Learning.
When it's there. And another one I wanted to share, like just.
I think on this sort of thing as well, this makes me laugh because the kids are like, why is my dad being like that? He never does that.
Exactly.
Yeah, on their faces, it's like, what is my dad doing?
I know. And this one's really weird because this is one of my favorite clients ever, and then they moved, and then a few years later I photographed them. This was in New York, and they've never ever done this to me. Like they've never color coordinated before, so that was a total shock to me. It's like, what?
But you know what happens though is like what we were talking about before with it's like you've got your first newborn baby, and the parents are a bit wooden because the focus is on the baby's not doing much, so there's much more of a expectation for them to do something, and it kind of then, like I said, you add more and more different people into the mix, and it kind of exponentially goes up in chaos. And then it goes back down again. It's like a bell curve because the kids get older and they become more static and less interactive.
And
there's less
get involved as much.
Yeah, and there's less need for, in real life, the kids are more independent and they're not as needy and things. So you actually get this sort of bell curve of less stuff going on.
This is a very representative. So the fact that actually I transferred from very lifestyle session in the Pick Your Own farm to this. And this is one of their favorite pictures from that day.
Is this a session where the mum said you've got to get the dad on his phone because he's always on?
Oh yeah.
So she understands that that's part of their life, and please show that in the pictures.
I want him to know what it looks like.
Yeah. So like a subliminal message to the dad.
Yeah. But like this is what it actually is when you have 3 kids and you sort of out in town.
Yeah, it is like that.
It is like that, yeah.
And it's got lovely things like, the 2 little kids are lining up toys. You've got the little girl sitting with her knees out, which is what, kids do. The dad's got his earphone. Not only is he on his phone, he's got his earphones in.
I mean, yeah. So breastfeeding and feeding kids in general. Also, so this is one of the recent shoots that I've done with a baby, and with a gift certificate as well, which means it's usually the way it goes. But as we were saying, like they wanted the pictures in the flat because that's where they spend the whole lockdown. But they were not quite ready to obviously to be very real, and you can see it by the way they're dressed. I mean, dad is more casual. The mum has quite a bit of jewelry. Can't see the huge bracelet. That's a dead giveaway. And actually, as we wrapped up the session, she took it off right away as I was leaving. I was like, okay,
now I can dress down.
Yeah, dress down now. We're done now. But so this is not how it happens when you feed the baby. So she just finished breastfeeding here. Dad doesn't sit next to the mum and lovingly looks at them. It just doesn't happen like that. Right?
No, it just doesn't. And yet somehow it's this, there's a camera looking at me. Yeah. I need to look perfect.
I mean, there's nothing wrong. This is a picture for them to have. I'm just saying, key that it's not a documentary image, especially when it comes to a contest or if it's your portfolio that you're trying to curate for documentary clients that appreciate real life. You want to be steering clear of those pictures. So this is the session where I'll probably just share a couple of close-ups of the baby and that's it. But this is as real as it got with the breastfeeding. This is what it is. You know, dad's looking at the phone. That's another example. This is very lifestyle. Clearly, you can see by the way the baby is dressed. Even though I haven't directed her, I haven't done anything. Like that's, you know, they've chosen to lifestyle themselves.
But still, even in that one though, I mean, she's sitting cross-legged on a sofa, so it's like she's dressed up, but she's kind of behaving naturally.
Kind of on the spectrum, kind of moving.
Funny mix, isn't it? When people do dress up, but then they kind of try and be natural as well.
I mean, it's a process, isn't it? Like it does take a while to get on with the idea that you can be in your pajamas when someone you haven't met before comes to your house specifically to photograph your family. So, but this is more like real life.
But then, like you said, you know, you've got a dog and 3 children, so
4. Yeah. All this again, more children, more real.
Yeah.
But even with one baby, so this picture, for example, that's kind of, yes, they're kind of in their jeans, but she's sort of sitting in a position and he's kind of just talking to her and the baby's sleeping. So this is more real than them sitting next to each other.
Yeah.
Lovingly looking at the baby. I think that's that. Oh, that's one I wanted to show about the walking picture. So there's, you know, let's walk in a straight line and smile and swing the children. This is one of their favorite images, and they were joking that, you know, the chicken cottage and everything, that's like, that's very much London neighborhood. Yes. But I just ran across the street and they just walked. They're not sitting in the line, they're not pretend like one of them is eating chips.
Yeah, but then that's like their neighborhood, and at some point they might not live in that neighborhood anymore, and it is a really nice.
And it's not pretty, like it's not really pretty.
You've got, it's like, you know, you've not got no, it's like, you know, there's still cars and people there because that's where you are.
Yeah.
And it shows, you know, where they live. You've got the road sign, Grove and things, you know, as well, which it's a nice, for a family, it's a nice memory of.
Yeah, so this was a day in the life. So yeah, I was with them like 14 hours or something. Yeah, so this is like hopefully that kind of dispels or like shares some light on when we say, oh, it's often not about the way you shot it. That, you know, no one's doubting that if you're saying you didn't direct someone, you didn't direct them, but it's more about how the client is behaving in the presence of a photographer, I think.
Yeah.
So let me just stop sharing here. Just make sure I press the right button.
Should I share? Bring mine up. Let me. Oh, did you do it in the photo mechanic?
Yeah.
I will do the same.
And guys, if you're watching and if you have any questions about anything, please just feel free to say something in the comments because it's more fun that way.
Yeah. Oh, what am I doing? Right, okay, so I will share the same thing that you shared. Okay, so this is the family that I was talking about before, where they've, let me see if I can find stuff. I've done it slightly differently to Antonina, just so you could get a different view. I've got 4 clients that I've done recently. 2 of them are year-long clients. One of those is really invested in normal, you know, everyday life. And the other one is this family, where they started out 9 years ago with me with, you know, this daughter here that's standing here, wrapped up in a blanket and on a beanbag. And it was a really completely free session of them just messing around in this place. But their dress, you can tell immediately that they're dressed to impress, you know.
That's not how they would get dressed if they're just going.
I mean, they've got
basically, right?
like this little boy, he's in a white linen shirt. One.
Yeah.
You just wouldn't. Oh, excuse me. This always happens. Sorry, it's my mouse is a bit dodgy. And then I've got 2 clients who were really quick 1 hour sessions, 1.5 hours. And again, completely different. One who books me regularly and is invested in documentary. And the other one, it's their first session. They've just got 1 baby. He's 1, so there's a lot more interaction. And they had a dog, which makes it a bit more interesting. But they obviously aren't quite
there yet.
And particularly the dad. Everything was clean, tidy. It is more clean and tidy if you've just got 1 kid, and but they were smartly dressed for a Friday afternoon, and you can just sort of see it. But it was interesting with them. I shall come on to them when we go through it. So this I've just taken a few shots from each just to sort of demonstrate. These guys have had some pictures at home during their year, so they wanted to be out and about, which is fine. Because I was with them for 2-3 hours maybe, but and they were just playing. The girls were playing Harry Potter and their little brother was desperate to keep up with them. But as well as like some parts of it look more lifestyle, other parts don't. Like catching natural moments where they're reaching for each other, and they're not camera aware in this moment. I'm just trying to make the most of the lighting and the location for the composition. And like here, you've got like a sort of, an environmental portrait, I'd call this. It's a natural portrait that's happened that I've seen and taken, and it's showing her personality, and her age, with her skirt lifted up, and she was really, really in her imaginary world. This one, she's the middle one, so she's about 4 or 5. She's just started school, so she's 4, I think, and she's brilliant. I love the dad and this little girl in this family. Do you ever have that way you're particularly attracted to certain people in the family?
Yeah.
Because of their personalities, and like this little girl is really free, and the dad in this family is really great. I think he works quite hard in everyday life, and so when he's with the kids, he's really fun. He's really sweet.
He just wants to immerse himself. But it's the thing, like sometimes you do gravitate to one of the kids, for example, if they're really full of life, and then the fun does follow them.
yeah, that's a good description. Yeah. And then here, this is her, her big sister's not paying her attention. She's like, come on, come and play with me. Then it's a completely natural, because she's at that age where she's completely unaware of the camera and relaxed around it. And then the little one and her, and again, this just happened, but it's a really nice location where you can get some quite sweet composition.
That's probably something you won't necessarily share.
Share that because it looks
a bit too.
It's their clothes are too neat for the situation.
And that's the message you want to be sending, and that's like what that is reiterate. Like, it's okay if you turn up on the session, and Jennifer, we're gonna get to. Jennifer asked, like, how do you convince a more lifestyle-oriented client that they can wear their pajamas? And we'll probably get to that a bit later.
Yeah.
But like you want to project a certain image online. It's basic branding.
Yeah. And so all of these they're very cleanly presented, the family. So although I literally didn't direct them at all. Because of the way that they're dressed, it just looks cleaner and polished. Like here, this is, if this was at home in their house, it would look different. The little girls are real mother hens to their little brother, and they're constantly fussing over him. But they're dressed in the same cardigan. The little boy's in this white linen shirt,
and the dad's wearing loafers.
Yeah, exactly. The dad's in loafers and another white linen shirt. They're really, really well dressed for climbing on ruins and out for the day. But it's very typical of how they behave, but it's not what I would call a good representation of
Exactly. So
something that I want in my portfolio.
You deliver to a client. Like when the client hires you, you're responsible to the client. And if it happens to be not quite as documentary as you'd like, then it's fine. You're hired by the client. So you maybe work on them. Maybe they are more amenable to, in the future, being a bit more chill about the whole thing, or maybe not. Then there's a completely different question of what you share.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to then attract, if you share this, you would attract more people who like to coordinate clothes with the children. And then it's like a catch-22. The more of that you share, the more of them you attract.
But who was it who asked that question? I think it's not like, and this is a family I've taken with me for many years now, and they've they trust me. They always love their pictures, and they're becoming more and more relaxed. But I think they're actually quite a well put together family anyway. But it's really put together outfits.
Like that.
What does it? Yeah. And then so yeah.
Like especially some of the wealthier people that I meet, whether it's work or not, they even like if they're on the playground. I've met someone recently through a home education community, and they're quite wealthy, and you could tell like she tried to be casual on the playground, but she just cannot be casual. Kids work are very casual, but she cannot.
See, that's like this. They are completely getting dirty, mucking up.
Brilliant. If only they were not.
They're in the same cardigans.
I know. If only
like this is the mother's very attentive and sweet. So there's lots of this. So you can catch all these totally natural, unrehearsed moments. She's always
something that I'd be more comfortable sharing because you can't see the coordination here.
Yeah, I think the work. Unfortunately, the two sisters are really super fun together, but because they're dressed in the same outfits, it's I'll keep pressing the wrong button. Hold on. I mean, here you've got a kind of view of all of them in their pink and blue and white outfits, but not posed. Again, the mother hen sisters, but then so this one I might put in my portfolio. I think it's quite funny. Dad's like mucking around with them. I've got the stick in the daughter's shoe, and that's there's no obvious coordination there. So but yeah, he's really funny. So I like particularly that daughter and the dad were really fun to photograph. And then you've got on a longer session where it's like this, you start messing around and doing other stuff. They have bubbles with them, and then at the end the little boy's just left on his own while the girls are fighting, the parents are arguing about something, and the little boy's left just wandering off like, are you following me or not? And then so they had some bubbles, which is great because if you're going somewhere like that, I do suggest certain activities if you to make sure that it's not a day in the life where things are going to happen naturally. You want them to be, if you want them to be really unaware of the camera and doing stuff, have some things for them to do. Picnic.
Alice is saying, I love the matching cardigan climbing one. Looks editorial, which I guess is another direction of the spectrum.
Yes,
this is so true. That is very.
They're so cute. These girls. I mean, again, some of these shots would be brilliant if they weren't in.
Yeah, but like as Alice is saying, this is editorial now.
Yeah, exactly. But that's how they dress for their shoots. It's an editorial way. So that's I think what we're saying. If you've got clients who turn up like that, there's nothing you can do about it. And you can deliver a really great gallery. You can have really great moments that are completely natural, but you're not going to use them. It
just sends the wrong
because it sends the wrong message. This one I love. I've never done this before.
This is really cool.
It really made me laugh because they go like this with their hands, and it looked like elephant trunks. But apparently, you learn something every day. If you go like that with your jumper, you can catch bubbles more easily. So something like that I would put in my portfolio.
That's really cool. Yeah,
because it's super abstract as well.
You learn something every day.
Yeah, I know. So we haven't tried that yet, but I'm going to try to catch bubbles with my jumper. Yeah, so that was a longer session, but a client that has changed and relaxed over time.
Address maybe Jennifer's question a little bit more about how do we convince. I mean, we talked about it. It's not like you can convince them. You can tell them that it's okay, and you can keep sharing work that reiterates that point, even if you have to do portfolio sessions to do that. But ultimately, they have to arrive at that themselves.
It also depends what you've booked. I mean, if you've booked a day in the live session with someone, you've got a full day, and you're, it's 10, 12 hours.
Yeah.
You expect them to be not ready, or even like a full morning or something. But if you've got a shorter session, it's not as likely that they're going to be dressed, or you're going at lunchtime. They're more likely to be dressed. So really.
So it's like I actually had a session a couple of weeks ago where they wanted a very documentary session, but because of the day of the week, so they go to church on Sunday mornings. By the time I arrived in their house, they were all ready. Like there was no opportunity for me to photograph them getting ready and getting the kids dressed. And all that, and that was a bit of a bummer, and I didn't think about that. I was like, that's fine, I'll just come a bit later. But then basically the lesson, if they have church on Sunday mornings, don't book a session on a Sunday morning.
Yeah
if you want them in their pajamas. Yeah.
Which one should I look at now?
So maybe show a bit more loose documentary one.
So I'll go to this one where it's my other year-long client that I'm going to show, which is a documentary client. So this, a bit like what I was saying before, I love the dad in this family because he's super expressive. And the relationship, I love the relationship between the dad and the son. They're really, the son absolutely idolizes his dad. It's really, really sweet. And the mum's gorgeous. I ended up chatting to her for hours. Anyway, so this one, I wanted to show this one because this is like, I think I've sort of talked about in something, might have been the critique that we did ages ago, with a dad tickling a child. And it was, looking at the camera, both of them looking at the camera, tickling quite perfect faces. And this is just like, these guys were messing around in the sitting room, and the son jumped on the dad and started because he was wanting his attention. It was that sort of thing. But to take it from a different angle changes how it looks. So not having the two of them sort of tickling together.
Yeah, not the stand-and shot, which could have been that. Yeah.
Then it just looks a bit, just it changes how you feel about the image. And
I think actually just the thought that crossed my mind, because we've been so inundated with lifestyle imagery over the last 10 years, it takes a bit of extra effort and a different angle and a different setup and slightly messier kids and parents to differentiate yourself a little bit more.
Yeah.
Not that it doesn't happen naturally. And I think when we critique that image, the photographer actually said that's, they were just doing that.
Yeah.
It does take a bit more extra effort. We need to, if you sort of trying to say, no, let's do real life, let's not act for the camera, you want to show it differently.
Yeah. And like just like with something like this, taking out any of the background and honing in and looking slightly down.
Yeah. Brings you more into the moment.
Yeah. It just changes the view. I don't know. And this was him tickling his dad's legs as well, which is really sweet. He's such a dad. I don't know, he's just really sweet with his dad. He really loves his dad.
Is it all 24, Emma? 24 mil, yeah, it all 24 mil.
Most on 24, yeah. This one, so, and I mean, the mum was quite occupied with their little girl. This one, I've you know how you're rocking all the time when you've got a new baby and you kind of go, I know, so I was trying to capture that feeling where she was looking on at what her boys were digging or something like that. I don't know what they were doing, I can't remember. And she's standing there. You do it without thinking, don't you? That feeling of rocking, and so capturing that sensation that you do all the time for years afterwards. I mean, even now, if I see someone rocking their baby, I still start going,
Yeah.
a metronome. Here, the little boy, obviously you get these moments where someone's done something where they've hurt. This is actually, he's been naughty, but you can have naughty, hurt, and it's these.
And I like it with the dad. You can even see his determined stride. Like,
yeah, you can tell the dad's pulling the boy along. It's not a comforting, oh, you've hurt yourself, is it? It's
like, let's go.
Come in. Come inside. Stop misbehaving. Then, nap time. Nap time for the little baby girl. They've just moved house, so, and while the baby's napping, the two boys are doing.
Oh, that's very cool.
They've got this amazing house. I did their first session in their other house, which was also amazing. They've just moved to this one, which is somehow more amazing than the first. I'm just gorgeous. I'd move in. But like this, I think this really shows their relationship. It's a more environmental portrait. It shows their location and what they're doing, but they're communicating together, and they're really thick as thieves.
You're choosing your composition here, like to show the background and show.
Yeah, exactly. But equally, I'm shooting upwards so that their body language and their bodies are in the clean part of the image. Then here, the dad then went off to get his tractor so that they could have races together.
Oh, wow, that's so
cool. He's turned up, but then it ran out of petrol. So then they've the whole series of them.
Is it called a carrot?
No, that's this. It does look like that, doesn't it? So you can see the shadow. It's like the funnel. He's gone off to get the funnel. The dad's got the petrol, and then they're filling up the petrol can. And it's just using the colour and things, symmetry and nice.
It does help that they're obviously doing something.
Which is
something that they do.
But this is what happened when you've got a longer session, because this is a year, but it's like I was there for about 3-4 hours.
But they also know you really well, so
they know me. But they're completely natural as a family, and so that they were just getting on with everyday life. The little girl's napping, so the boys are doing what they do.
And what's interesting is that the mum is not there to stand and look lovingly at them messing about.
Yeah, she's doing whatever she's doing, and I happen to be following these two because this is where the interesting stuff's happening at that time. And that, so it's a bit more detailed. But then another one, this is a sort of shot, show just to point out the not lifestyle clothing thing. So it's midsummer and he's got an ice cream, but he's wearing a Christmas Lego top. So because it's his favourite top. And that sort of thing's really nice, because that
shows his personality and his
personality, but you also know straight away it's like, they've not lifestyled me. Excellent. They don't care. And then a kind of typical kids not interacting, playing on their own thing, lolling on the floor. I love a lolling on the floor shot. And this is, I think I probably could have got a better shot of this, but it didn't happen. I could have done better, I think. But it just makes me chuckle, because this is what you do, isn't it, with a baby? They're put on the floor while everybody else is doing stuff. They're just lying there, waiting to get picked up.
I can see the sling here, so it kind of tells me the story. I got the story. But there's a bit, but sometimes you don't get the best shot, and that's fine.
But it's still telling some of the story, you know.
Sure.
The dad and the son together again. They're really cute, and but the mum clambering.
Oh my God.
Which is awesome as well. I love her. She's great. So that's a much more a selection of, just obviously they're more
much more relaxed,
invested in the idea, or they understand the idea, and that that they don't worry about coming across as perfect all the time. Yes, they've understood it. I was going to go back to, I'll go back to a more lifestyle-y session now. So
can I just, for the benefit of everyone else, I think, can I ask, like, when you first started photographing them, were they like that already when you met them?
This family?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
This is the second time I photographed them. The first time was in it was before the little girl was born, and she was heavily pregnant. But yeah, it was just a normal day. And I suppose there's a little, yeah.
I mean, there are families like that. They just, because I've had families who, hired me for a day in the life straight away, and without even like ever meeting me or working with me, and that's what they wanted.
Yeah.
Whereas others, it does take a few sessions, or maybe they'll hire you for a short session first.
Like I said, the house is normal. It's not like they've tipped everything out in order to be messy, but it's not really.
The cleaner hasn't been in.
Yeah, and they, when I went when they were pregnant, we went out for a walk, and the little boy took a bike, and the dad was in his like shorts and t-shirts and sandals, and she was dressed up in her wellies and the coat.
Yeah.
No, maybe he had jeans on, the dad, that time, but they're not. They weren't making any special efforts or anything.
Yeah.
It was just what they did.
Yeah. We all want clients like that, but it doesn't happen.
It doesn't always. So this one isn't a recent client that I've done, and they lifestyled me, but it was a really short session. And what was interesting was actually in the pictures when I sent their gallery, when they favorited it, their images a lot. Some of the images they can't help but look lifestyley because of the what they're wearing, and how they were sort of like asking me, what do I do now? So there's less of that natural instinct in them. But a lot of the shots they really liked were the unstaged pictures.
That's what I was talking about. This is a huge marketing opportunity to actually go in, do what they think they want, and then also experiment. Like once you've got the safe shots out, then you can sort of experiment. And I've seen the bits of this session from you, and I thought like there was some really cool shots that you've done that show them what it could be like if they just let loose.
Yeah. And they said, I think she said as well when she saw the gallery, she said, "Oh, this is really nice. There's such a good selection, such a good variety of things that we're doing." I was only there for literally an hour, and so it was in the late afternoon, early evening.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's their first child. I think they're quite rigid with when they're, structure of the day with bedtime and bath time and meal times and things like that. Which again is what we were saying. First-time parents are a bit more like that, but he's one, so there's character in him. He's doing stuff, he's interacting with them, and they had this dog as well who's really sweet. But it came, I got there, they did a little bit, it was pissing down with rain. Fortunately it cleared up, because I was thinking, oh my god, this is like, everything I did, the dad seemed to jump into the picture smiling.
Right. Oh my god, yeah, I hate it when that happens.
Oh yeah. Let me show I need to be in this picture to show that I play with my son. But then it stopped raining, and they live really, really close to a park. So I said, "Oh, should we go to the park to see if that kind of like distracted them?" So we went there.
Yeah, and also like what I like about you saying, sometimes it's okay to suggest things because you want to, again, your responsibilities to the client, and if you feel like you might get better results.
I mean, they weren't in. If we'd have stayed in the house, they wouldn't have moved. It was a small terrace house, and it was quite dark. It was a horrible place, quite dark. But they weren't going to move from the sitting room and the downstairs. I wasn't going to be able to go upstairs. He finished his tea after we came back from the park. He had his tea and stuff, so I managed to get feeding and a bit of playtime, and then it was going to be bath time. They clearly wanted me to go. I was going to outstay my work. They weren't expecting me to do bath time or anything like that, which would have been lovely. But it was like, no, that's not part of it. But they were super happy with what they got. And I, even in that situation, the dad's really neat in a little shirt and jumper. And I get the impression they're probably a bit like that anyway. And like we've said many times already, it's you haven't fully become completely chaotic when you've just got one child. So everything is a bit more organised, and but
you're moving them along.
In that, it's
I'll show some of the pictures then.
Yes, I'm just going naturally along with what happens rather than telling them what to do. Apart from saying let's go out. So yeah, some classic.
Well, because you're responsible, you need to deliver a good gallery to them, and that, if it means you suggest that you go outside, then that's fine. Like,
I mean, the little boy had this really particular way of going along the floor, sort of. He went along like this, and he used his big toes to push himself. So I've got a couple of.
Really cool. I can
They've talked about that a lot. It's like, oh, it's really funny. He crawls. He doesn't crawl. He pushes himself along with his toes. His toes are really strong. So you can see that. You can see his little toe pushing down. So I've got some of that sort of thing. And here's where the dad has jumped into the frame.
Yeah, and he's like fully dressed in his jumper and his shirt, and that's exactly how it happens on an everyday basis.
Yeah, exactly. And you can tell that's much more. He's doing that because he thinks he needs to. Whereas this one is one that they favorited which is interesting to me.
The mess of it.
It's more normal, and yet she's got her slippers on and stuff. Yeah, I think the things that are happening just around the house, and they shut the dog in the kitchen because it was being a pain in the arse. The dog's looking through the window, so you can still get a lot of character even if it's been lifestyled. This another one was really surprised me. It was one of their favourites. It's literally around the corner from their house, but they do this. The part that, so if you go up in the distance a little bit, their street is the next street along, and they're standing at the traffic lights and parks on the other side of the road. So they do this all the time. And so it's a bit like that one of yours at Ladbroke Grove. This is their life.
Yeah.
And the little boy. He was really cute, this little boy, actually. But she's obviously he's teething, so he's chewing everything. So I'll just skip down. He's chewing himself all the time. So catching those sort of things, that if they say stuff like, oh, he really does this thing with the crawling, then, make a note of that. Make a note of that, Or another thing they said is he loves pressing buttons. So I was looking, just when you're chatting to them, these sort of things come up because they want to talk about their baby. It's the apple of their eye. And so make a note of these sort of things. He's chewing everything, and whatever he had on, he'd be chewing. And this is another one of their favourites. The dad's mucking around, the dog, the mum's looking. That's not their house. This is the park. You thought it was their house, didn't you?
That was like nice.
So, and again, you've got much more character because it's just
action, and they're kind of like doing, and it's not perfect, and
they've forgotten that I'm there. Whereas then they're like kind of, you take this is more, but just having the dog just make slightly changes it for me. I love a dog in the picture. So I mean, they clearly wanted some more classic pictures, and then I've got it was really dark. They're walking along.
I love this one.
Try and add some flavour with some,
I really like this one.
And this, so this was with like his little
buttons,
depressing. It happened to be really nice, the little fingers framed, because they've got these great light switches that are gold and reflective, and it's like a little frame around his finger, but you've got the silhouette of his face as well. And the light on his finger. And again, like I said, they mentioned that. So
so that's just, I think,
adding that sort of thing in.
It's a really good example, this session, of how you progress the client along the spectrum.
Yeah.
It's by, delivery. I'm sure there's more shots that are more lifestyle in the gallery. But obviously you're not showing all of it here, but like you've also made an effort to seek out actively those more storytelling documentary images. Actually, I love this one. This is so typical, isn't it, with the dog? Yeah. And then the next time they hire you, they will be much more open to just let you document their life. It's not a guarantee, but that's how you progress them.
But because I managed to get them to feed, as part of it, like have his tea time. They weren't sitting down, having food at the same time. That was quite, stilted. They were very much like feeding him, and
not quite there, but they will.
But I've edited it so that it's like more focused on different things rather than them looking a bit unnatural, because I'm sure their tea time isn't always as sterile.
Yeah,
the little boys feeding the crisps and things, and then the sort of chaos of them.
Oh, I love that one too. Standing, and that's much more natural. So that's the thing, like, but cleverly, like, you have to deliver strong documentary images to convince them that it's okay to do that.
Yeah,
and that's how you educate the client.
Exactly. I'm still, even within documentary context, I'm often looking for really clean backgrounds like this.
Yeah, well, me too. I love clean backgrounds.
Because
But you can do that.
it makes the image stronger, and it's something that the clients probably won't be able to do themselves.
Exactly, yeah.
But the mum chasing, they were playing around this table, which was actually really cute. He's playing hide and seek with his mum, and it was really cute. So there was quite a lot of opportunity to do stuff, even in that short time frame and restricted context.
That's really cool. Yeah.
I've got one more as well. And so this is another client where it was a really, really short session, and she books me regularly, but she has older kids, but they're really relaxed, and they just moved house and got chickens, and it was just after lockdown, so she wanted some. And actually it was something, I think she booked me because this son, she's got 2 boys, was turning 11, and she wanted last year she booked me because there was something, the older boy was turning a certain age, and so I think she wanted to focus on this one. But they were messing around, being completely natural, having a really good laugh, and it was really nice to photograph. And I love that. She's like telling them off through the
that's what happens when you have kids of this age, right? You don't swing them on the swing.
yeah, exactly. That separation of dependence, isn't it? The chickens, the boys messing around, falling over, and the background, they've got table tennis, volleyball, swing ball, trampoline. The background is not clean in their back garden because they're really sporty in it. It's a gorgeous house of God, but they've got big toys everywhere.
That's fine. Like, you still are able to do some cleaner shots and some messier shots, right?
And just the
by shooting up, you kind of are getting a cleaner.
I love relationships of how people behave together. I think you find what you really like. Looking for what triggers your interest, and I love relationships, but also the antithesis of a relationship as well. So sometimes when people are inhabiting the same space but doing something completely different, I love that as well. And they decided to go swimming. It was icy cold, but the whole family got involved. And it's just trying to do something. I mean, there's this big ugly blue thing. So how do you take it and capture it in a documentary?
It can't be just a snapshot. That's another thing that we keep going on and on about. Like, documentary doesn't mean you're just snapping at whatever.
Frenzy, the freezing cold, then the sporting prowess, and it's you can see on this side. I don't know whether you can see all these goosebumps because they were absolutely freezing. But some people are much easier to photograph than others.
I guess what actually the thing that probably to talk about with this particular session is obviously the parents are not really in the picture that much, and often you actually want that picture with everyone, and that's where you might, if you're feeling like you're not getting a natural portrait of all of them, you might pull them aside for 5 minutes and go let's just quickly do that one portrait. And that's a skill you still need to have.
I think you need to pick up on whether they want that as well, don't you?
You can ask, would you like one?
And
some people say yes, some people say no. Some people say yes and then don't choose that because they
that's true. Because they realise that actually they prefer
the other ones. I'd like to be safe personally, like if it's a bigger family with older kids that are not necessarily going to be in the same frame all the time, that I will make sure that I've got that in the bag. And also sometimes if you do it at the beginning, so the family kind of relaxes a little bit more, and then they can just muck about. They know you've got that picture that they can't get themselves.
And this family, I think in all the other families I've got pictures where it does show all of them. This family, I know what she wants, her boys and their relationship.
Fine. And you've got that.
And I do have pictures of them doing some other stuff that's a bit more boring with the parents in it as well. But the focus is on them. So which is sometimes if you've got a clear directive from client, she's like a super successful woman who's very clear on what she wants. It's quite easy for her to know. So last time I took it, she wanted to show the boy's relationship with the dads, and it was her day off. So they have this system where each person has a day for themselves, that they each year they have one day, not their birthday, another day where they do their own thing, and they choose. And her day was that she wanted her boys and husband to have a photo shoot together, and they couldn't complain because that was her choice.
Oh, that's so smart. You learn, like I learn from my clients a lot. I'm like, that's a good one.
Yeah, which was really sweet. So she's not I'd love to get her to be more in the pictures, and she's in a little bit, but she's quite keen on capturing the different stages of her son's development. Yeah. So
I think we've covered quite a lot. Does anyone have any questions about this distinction? That's very loose. I think we try to kind of shed light a little bit on how it actually works in real world.
Yeah, and it isn't always, you know, you kind of have to judge a session. I work very much in the way that I work, and freely with whatever's going on wherever we are. What indicators for me are what they're wearing and how their behaviour. But even within that context, I still work in a more free way. But it's like you say, you need to be slightly aware of things like, you know, do they want to have a family shot?
Yeah.
Especially certain types of people will want that. Yeah.
And then it ends up like it all culminates in what images you choose for your portfolio. And, you know, they obviously have to be strong images, but you have to be careful about what sort of subtle, not the obvious things, it's the subtle signals that you're sending to a client in that regard. Right. I think we've probably done, I don't see any questions. Before we go, shall we announce who's coming on next week for our Let's Get Real With?
Hey!
So next week we have the amazing photographer Ben Heisman, who is, I hope that Ben, excuse me if I'm mispronouncing your name, but I think it's Heisman.
Yeah, I think so as well. So
it's always like that.
Yeah.
Who is this? If you don't follow him on Instagram. He is a dad, and he photographs his family beautifully. And he basically will be chatting about that and the dad's perspective and his art background. And how he turns mundane scenes into basically fine art, which is the best way to describe Ben's work.
Yeah, exactly.
So hopefully you can tune in for that. It's next Tuesday, and I'm going to put tomorrow. I'm going to put an official announcement about that. So hopefully you can tune in for that. And don't forget to, if you have any friends that you think might like the group and the conversations we're having here, please add them. We'd love to have them in the group. Diana is saying, "Yay, Ben!" Yes, yay, Ben. Right.
To celebrate some men as well.
Men as well.
There's not so many dads out there.
Yeah, unfortunately. So maybe Ben will inspire some other.
Yeah.
Right. You are in control of the live, so can you finish the live?
Yeah, fine.